In a world that is increasingly filled with marketing, advertising, and interpersonal interactions, the ability to persuade and influence others is a skill that can be as valuable as any technical knowledge or expertise. Robert Cialdini's Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, has become a foundational work in understanding the science behind persuasion. First published in 1984, the book explores the principles that drive human behavior, focusing on how people can be influenced by seemingly subtle or hidden factors. Cialdini, a social psychologist, presents the psychological triggers that drive our decision-making process. These principles are often used by marketers, salespeople, advertisers, and others to influence consumer behavior and human interactions. However, the goal of Cialdini's book is not just to understand these principles in the context of business, but also to gain insight into how they shape personal relationships and daily interactions. By understanding how influence works, we can become more aware of when we are being influenced and how to use these principles ethically in our own lives. The book lays out 6 core principles that guide human behavior and explains how each one can be utilized to increase one's ability to influence others. The 6 principles of influence. Cialdini's exploration of influence is based on 6 core principles, each one backed by scientific research and real-world examples. These principles are reciprocity, commitment and consistency, social proof, liking, authority, and scarcity. 1. Reciprocity, the power of give and take. Principle. The principle of reciprocity states that we feel obligated to return a favor or act of kindness. When someone does something for us, we naturally feel compelled to do something in return. This principle is often used in sales and marketing. Free samples, gifts, and complimentary services are all strategies that encourage reciprocity. The idea is that if someone gives you something for free or does something for you, you feel a subconscious pressure to reciprocate by making a purchase or doing something in return. Example. A common example of reciprocity in action is the free sample strategy in stores. A retailer gives you a free sample of a product. Even though you may not need the product, you feel obligated to purchase it, not wanting to leave without returning the favor. This is why grocery stores and online retailers frequently offer free trials or samples. They're tapping into the reciprocity principle. Real-world application. You can leverage the power of reciprocity in your own interactions by offering genuine help or value without an immediate expectation of return. For example, when you provide free, valuable advice to a colleague or client, they are more likely to reciprocate by helping you when you need it. 2. Commitment and consistency, the power of following through. Principle. The principle of commitment and consistency states that once we make a choice or take a stand, we are more likely to stick to it. This is because people value consistency and want to avoid the psychological discomfort that comes with behaving inconsistently. This principle is deeply rooted in the desire for self-image and integrity. Once we commit to something, we want to be seen as consistent with that commitment. This is why people who make public commitments, even small ones, are more likely to follow through. Example. A common example of commitment and consistency is found in the foot in the door technique. In this tactic, a person or company starts by asking for a small commitment, like agreeing to answer a survey, and once the person agrees, they are much more likely to agree to a larger request, like purchasing a product or donating to a cause. Real-world application. One way to leverage this principle is by getting people to make small initial commitments. For instance, when trying to get someone to buy into your idea, start by asking them to make a small commitment or statement of support. As they publicly commit to the smaller request, they are more likely to say yes to a larger request later on. 3. Social proof, the influence of others' behavior. Principle. Social proof refers to the idea that people are more likely to do something if they see others doing it. Humans are social creatures, and we often look to others for guidance on how to behave in uncertain situations. When in doubt, we tend to mimic the actions of those around us. Social proof is commonly used in marketing strategies, such as customer reviews, testimonials, and user-generated content. When potential customers see that others are satisfied with a product or service, they are more likely to make the same choice. Example. One classic example of social proof is the tip jar effect. When you see others leaving money in a tip jar, you are more likely to do the same, even if you hadn't planned on tipping. The behavior of others provides a social cue that you are expected to follow. Real-world application. To use social proof in your own life or business, consider showcasing testimonials, positive reviews, or customer stories. If you're trying to persuade others to follow a particular path, sharing evidence that others have made the same decision can increase the likelihood that they will follow suit. 4. Liking, the power of connection and affinity. Principle. People are more likely to be influenced by those they like. The liking principle suggests that we tend to agree with people who are friendly, similar to us, or have a personal connection. If someone makes us feel good about ourselves, or if we share similar interests, we are more likely to be persuaded by them. This principle is why salespeople and negotiators often focus on building rapport with their clients or counterparts. They know that a strong personal connection increases the likelihood of closing a deal. Example: if you've ever bought something from a salesperson who was genuinely friendly and engaged with you, you've experienced the power of liking. This principle also explains why people are more likely to listen to friends or family recommendations rather than traditional advertisements. Real-world application. To increase your influence, focus on building authentic relationships with others. Show interest in their lives, find common ground, and create a positive and supportive environment. The more people like you, the more likely they are to be persuaded by your ideas or actions. 5. Authority. The influence of expertise and credibility. Principle. People are more likely to be influenced by individuals who are seen as authorities in their field. This principle relies on the fact that we tend to trust and follow those who have demonstrated expertise or hold a position of authority. Doctors, lawyers, and experts are often given more weight in decision-making processes. Example: a well-known example of authority in action is the celebrity endorsement. When a famous figure promotes a product, their credibility and expertise in a particular field, whether genuine or not, can significantly impact the consumer's purchasing decision. Real-world application. To use authority ethically, position yourself as an expert in your field by demonstrating your knowledge and experience. Publishing articles, writing books, speaking at events, or gaining certifications can help build your authority and increase your ability to influence others. 6. Scarcity. The influence of limited availability. Principle. The principle of scarcity asserts that people place higher value on things that are perceived as scarce or in limited supply. When something is rare or hard to get, it becomes more desirable. This principle is widely used in marketing, especially with tactics like limited-time offers or limited edition products. Example: a classic example of scarcity is the use of phrases like "only 3 left in stock" or "this offer ends soon." These messages create a sense of urgency and make people feel like they might miss out on something valuable if they don't act quickly. Real-world application. To leverage scarcity, you can create urgency in your offers or requests. For instance, if you were trying to close a deal, highlight the limited availability of an opportunity, whether it's a special offer or a unique product. This will prompt people to take action before they lose out. Conclusion: using influence ethically. In Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, Robert Cialdini unpacks the 6 principles that drive human behavior and decision-making. By understanding these principles, reciprocity, commitment and consistency, social proof, liking, authority, and scarcity, individuals can greatly improve their ability to persuade and influence others in both their personal and professional lives. However, Cialdini also stresses the importance of using these principles ethically. Influence is a powerful tool, and while it can be used to persuade people toward positive outcomes, it can also be used to manipulate or deceive. Leaders, marketers, and individuals must always be conscious of the ethical implications of their influence tactics. The key takeaway from this book is that influence is not about coercion or manipulation, but about understanding human behavior and applying that knowledge in a way that benefits both the influencer and the influenced. Whether you are trying to persuade others to support your ideas, buy your products, or take a particular course of action, understanding these psychological principles gives you a powerful advantage. By combining psychological insights, ethical practices, and strategic thinking, anyone can become more persuasive and effective in influencing others, without sacrificing their integrity or the well-being of others.
Be part of our journey. If you find our content valuable and inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Your support motivates us to keep going and bring you the best content, so don't forget to leave a like and share the video with those who might benefit.